Hi, I'm Jeff McLemore. I'm a faculty member with CLEF 2024. Suppose you have just bought your first bass guitar. I remember that day very well back in 1971, but it didn't take me long to figure out. Um, so you start with turning your volume up and never turn it up completely all the way at first. Run it up maybe halfway, make sure that your amplifier volume is not too high, which we're going to talk about the amplifier here in a minute. And the tone knob, it doesn't matter, just wherever you like the sound. It doesn't really make any difference. So what you want to learn first are the four strings in the tuning. And a lot of people get this confused because it is kind of confusing, and you're going to find a lot of things in music are kind of backwards. Like, for example, this string right here, the first string, a lot of people think that's the fourth string, and they also think that's the low string. Well, it's the first string and it's the high string. We call it high because it sounds higher. It has a higher sound to it. So first string, second string, third string, fourth string is what we consider the low string, even though it's physically higher from the ground. So that, once you kind of figure that out and not confused by that anymore, that's a big step right there. Every single fret, which is the metal bar that goes across here like this, represents a chromatic half step. Now, chromatic means the smallest increment that we can go from one note, like this is considered open G because I'm not using my left hand. The nut is actually playing the note at this point. And I press my finger down, not over top of or on top of the fret. You want to be behind it just a little bit. And that is where I would play my G sharp, which is also known as A flat. And that's where you need to get into a little bit of theory. But this is a half step, smallest interval that we have in music. And then your second finger by the book would go to the second fret. And notice again, I'm not on top of the fret. Okay. Third finger, fourth finger. And this is, again, by the book playing. When you get to that point, it'd be good to come back down. And just do this a few times to get used to it. Get all four of your fingers working right off the bat. So once you do that on your first string, you don't have to do it fast. Start on your second string, do the same thing. And on your right hand, I'm using these two fingers. You can use just one finger for now, or the other finger for now, or both if you want to. There's times I just use my first, there's times I just use my second. Lots of times, though, I'm using these two fingers. All right. These two I just kind of keep out of the way most of the time. Something for another day. And then third string. And always come back down after you go up. And just get used to doing that. Once you feel comfortable about doing that, and I notice I haven't said, oh, you have to know the note names yet, but eventually you do need to learn your note names. Just get familiar with how the instrument feels. Now, here's something I like to show everybody. You do your first four fingers. Oh dear, I've run out of fingers. What do I do now? You're on the pinky. Restart. First finger on the fifth fret. Oh, I ran out of fingers again. And if you do this correctly, the only place that has two dots on the neck is what we call the octave, the low G and the high G. If you did that little thing with your four fingers correctly, you will end up on the 12th fret with your pinky. And then you start coming down again, shift, shift, and then eventually you want to do the other three strings. So forth and so on. You don't have to go that fast. It's a good idea, once you've done that for a little while, to learn where each note is, at least up to the octave, the 12th fret. Don't really worry about this yet. Most bass players never go above the 12th fret, although I do, and it's just out of necessity sometimes. But learn your notes really well, memorize them.